Staff's ready.
All right, great. Well, call the meeting to order and have a roll call, please.
Yes, Director Rsvp, Akbari,
Here.
Gunther,
Here.
Huang, and Weed.
Here. Would you join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, we have a member of the public. Do we have any requests for communication from a member of the public?
Yes. Yes, President Weed, may I?
Yes.
Yes. So this is Ken Nishimer. I just wanted to make a quick comment that I do strongly support the item that is being considered for this special board meeting. I believe that public access via the virtual method is a important method by which the public can participate in the activities of this board. I will notice as a side comment that the agenda today, which was posted to the board website, appeared to be an image PDF, which prevented the direct clicking of the link, which made it very difficult to actually attend this meeting via Zoom. It required an OCR, translation of the image to text, which then allowed joining this meeting. So just as a side note, that was an unusual step that I had to take in order to participate in this meeting. But in general, I do strongly support the matter being considered and I strongly encourage the board to continue making access to the board meetings and workshops via Zoom or virtual methods for the foreseeable future. Thank you.
Thank you. In response, I had the same problem. I went to the agenda and could not click on it. And thank you for the explanation of for the reason for that. I had to go back to the email to be able to get and click on the email that we received for notifying us the board meeting. So, and that was the first time I've had a problem going to our agenda and being able to click on the agenda directly and being hooked up to Zoom. On the second item, my understanding is that the item before us today relates to the board being able to conduct business online, but we can still have a hybrid meetings that is not addressed under AB 361. And we'll have that clarification when it comes up in the item for discussion. So public access will hopefully, in my mind, will hopefully continue regardless of whether we have in-person meetings or not. And that's really not an issue with 361, which is an oddly worded piece of legislation with an awkward 30-day criteria and a calendar of 31-day months at times. So I'll now let's go into the agenda item. We can discuss it further.
Okay, well, agenda item 4.1 is to consider and reaffirm resolution number 21058, making findings pursuant to Assembly Bill 361 that the proclaimed state of emergency continues to impact the ability to meet safely in person. And Assembly Bill 361 amended Government Code Section 54953 to allow legislative bodies, as you point out, President Weed, to continue to meet remotely during a proclaimed state of emergency, provided certain conditions are met and certain findings are made. On October 14, 2021, the board adopted resolution number 21-058, finding that the state of emergency associated with the COVID-19 pandemic continues to directly impact the ability to meet safely in person.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of a meeting.
And state or local officials continue to impose or recommend measures to promote social distancing. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54953E3, the board must reaffirm those findings. So this item is indeed necessary to maintain compliance with AB 361 because the next meeting of the full board is not scheduled until January 13, 2022, which is more than 30 days since the board last reaffirmed this resolution. I think I can make sure General Counsel confirms that I'm not stepping out of bounds, but AB 361 was intended to ensure that governing bodies could continue to meet in a virtual setting. And really, this board, in terms of public access to the meeting, obviously, AB 361 did provide for continuing public access to governing body meetings when they are held virtually. At such time as we return to an in-person board meeting, the provisions of 361 providing for public access wouldn't necessarily apply. However, it's been the direction of this board to try and ensure that public would continue to have the ability to participate virtually when we do indeed resume in-person board meetings. So that's what staff is currently planning. But you know, we've got a little ways to go before we get there.
All right. Thank you. Did you want confirmation from council on that?
Yeah, I'm happy to chime in. I think your general manager described it perfectly. He was right on point. Just AB 361 modifies one of the sections in the Brown Act that allows directors to participate in meetings by teleconference. And what it does is suspends some of the rules that make that much more difficult during this time of COVID, and allows us to continue to meet as we have been meeting. And as Mr. Stevenson points out, as long as we're operating under AB 361, there are provisions for us to be sure that the board can, that the public can participate remotely as well.
Those provisions are independent of 361 if we were to just continue. They're not reliant upon 361.
Which provisions?
Oh, the ability to open our meetings to the public for open access.
So
Hybrid.
right. So we do need to always allow the public to participate in our meetings, whether we do it through teleconferencing or without teleconferencing. So there's always that requirement.
Well, rather than a requirement, it's the ability to open it up to the public remotely is not dependent upon the wording in 361.
It is if we are operating under the provisions of 361.
Yes. Okay.
Once we are no longer operating under the provisions of 361, then the provisions that require public access remotely would not apply to us. But there may be other reasons to allow the public to participate remotely, but it wouldn't be because of this provision of the Brown Act that 361 amends.
Great. Thank you. We had another party join us.
It's Judy.
Judy, could you please note it for the record that Judy Wong is attending the meeting?
Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties. I'll try to get online.
Well, that's fine. You are now in attendance.
And Director Huang, we've had a couple of reports of difficulties given the format of the agenda document and the Zoom link that's on the agenda document that folks are using to access the meeting. And it may be that that because it's essentially an image as opposed to a clickable PDF. Oh, there you go. You got it. That we've had some issues. So for those in attendance, this is something we'll look at and confirm and make sure that we are providing full access to anybody interested. Okay. Certainly, just for the record, anybody could join. It's just a little bit more of a hassle this time.
We have yet another party. Could they please identify themselves? They have a telephone symbol, as all we see, with an phone number 408.
I think that's Jim.
That's me, I think. That's me, John. I'm on phone.
Okay, Jim. I'm sorry. Okay, you were so good.
Yeah, that's me.
All right. So 4 members. The other question I had, committee meetings. AB 361 provisions also covers the ability for committees to meet in a online through Zoom and to have members of the public attend those meetings.
Correct. So the Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You got it, Pat.
The resolution that the board adopted addresses committee meetings and it covers committee meetings as well. And what the board is doing every month is reaffirming that resolution in its entirety. So that's correct.
I sit on another committee, agency, BOSCA, which had a different legal interpretation on committees, saying the committees independently could make that determination on a monthly basis if their main board meetings were as in every 2 months. Yet a third group I sit on, DCA, today had another AB 361 meeting, which took 5 minutes, shorter than this, in which they went through that same process, but they're taking a more conservative view, so that they're going to have a special one, even though the main board meets every other month, they're going to meet every month to have a special AB 361 to cover their committees as well. So it's an interesting challenge, and we haven't come up to the 31-day month yet, but I'm sure it'll hit us someday. Thank you.
Yeah, and I advise the Alameda County Water District Board on AB 361, and I defer to other legal counsels to advise those other boards. And so I feel confident in what Alameda County Water District Board is doing and in its compliance with AB 361, and won't opine on other agencies that I don't represent.
Individually. All right. Thank you. Fine. Is there any other, well, do we need a motion?
Unless there's any other questions, I'll make the motion to move staff recommendation.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded by Director Gunther. Moved by Director Akbari. Roll call, please.
Directors Akbari,
Aye.
Gunther,
All right.
Huang,
Aye.
and Weed.
Aye. Right. Do we have any other business before the board?
President Weed, I do have a very brief general manager's report. In fact, it just came up today. We had a request from Supervisor Valle's office to just try and confirm. They sent out an invitation, I believe, to each of you about their groundbreaking ceremony for the Dig Deep Farms at the Masonic Homes property in Union City. So that'll be this weekend. That'll be Sunday. And they just wanted to understand whether or not any of you intended to participate. They're looking for RSVPs. The deadline to submit an RSVP is Friday, tomorrow. And so I just thought I would bring that up, remind you all that I believe you've all received this invitation, but they do need an RSVP if you plan to attend. If you are planning to attend and you know now, I can RSVP for you. If not, please go ahead and look at that email and consider whether you plan to attend. Just the details, it's Sunday, December 19th from 10 to 11 a.m. It's at the end of May Road, well, near May Road and Mission Boulevard in Union City. I'm not sure exactly where they're going to set up. And so if I'll be happy to take any confirmations now. Otherwise, feel free to respond to Chris Miley, who was Chief of Staff for Supervisor Valle, who sent you an email a little bit earlier.
I do intend on attending, and I have not RSVP'd yet. So if you can RSVP on my behalf, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, I will do that.
Thank you so much.
10 o'clock Sunday. Yeah, I should probably go to. You get RSVP for me.
Got it.
Well, it'll be in Jim's district. I had me too.
Yeah, I guess I should
Put it
go
on the
too.
RSVP.
Okay, great. All
So
right.
there'll be-
Are you on board?
Yep, I guess I should be there too.
I will RSVP on behalf of you all, and I will see.
And we might want to check with Director Rsvp. I'm surprised he hasn't joined us.
He may have already RSVP'd, I'm not certain,
But
but
I'm surprised he's not on this
yeah.
meeting.
I thought he was planning to be on when we were in committee yesterday.
I believe he indicated he planned to be here. I haven't heard from him.
Okay.
Interesting. I wonder if he got the timing wrong or something of that nature. I can try and reach him. Okay. We've, BJ Bunting. The feedback I got on that, he is a member of the Kaiser system. He was hospitalized with COVID. And I know his neighbor, she worked for one of my tenants. And she said that they think that he will be doing okay, but it's but he is in the hospital and his son is in the community.
John, is he in Washington or is he? Yeah, I saw your email. Did it say
Oh,
Washington?
he's a member of Kaiser, I'm told.
So is he in Kaiser Fremont or San Leandro?
San Leandro?
I don't
San
know.
Leandro. They don't have any beds. It's got to be San Leandro. I don't think they have any beds in Fremont.
Okay. No, I was actually thinking about that. Well, I guess we'll say we move on to director's comments. Is there something we could do as a district for BJ?
I would like that.
Certainly staff can send, some get well, maybe flowers and a note. Certainly that would, I'm pretty sure they would place that in his room. If there are any other suggestions, we'd be happy to hear them.
All right. Well, no, thank you very much. That'd be a wonderful.
I would like that.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
BJ is a very special member of the ACWD family, honorary member of ACWD family for all of us. So
He is a victim of the ACWD.
Yeah.
And still a special member.
Yeah.
he was, but he was big enough, and he's actually bigger than ACWD, right? In terms of being hostile or bear grudges, he actually willingly spent his time to work with us to make this water district better, right?
Yeah.
That's what's so special about BJ.
All right. I'd had an email earlier, another item for the board, about someone suggesting, there's a Phil Miller who had said several communications, and then spawning out of that conversation was an email he sent suggesting that we look at providing subsidies for people who want to do gardens, and particularly those who are economically disadvantaged, the old concept of the victory garden. And it suddenly struck me that we have an agreement with BJ Bunting where we provide him water to do his plantings in the backyard, which have a community support because he provides seedlings throughout the community. So there's some precedent for that if we choose to go down that route. All right. Thank you. Well, no response from Paul Sethi. Is there any other item before us?
Staff has no other items.
So at 4:20, a record for a new board president. We will adjourn.
Thank you.